Kurt Lewin's pioneering work in social psychology changed the face of modern understanding. His groundbreaking theories on group dynamics and social change continue to influence fields from business to politics. Get ready to uncover the fascinating life and legacy of a man who dared to challenge the status quo and reshape the world. As we delve into the life of Kurt Lewin, it's essential to explore his early years, which laid the foundation for his groundbreaking work in social psychology. Born on September 9, 1890, in Mogelno, a small town in the province of Posen, Germany, Lewin grew up in a Jewish family with a strong emphasis on education and intellectual curiosity. His parents, Leopold and Recha Lewin, encouraged his inquisitive nature, fostering an environment that nurtured his love for learning. Lewin's childhood was marked by a mix of traditional Jewish values and the cultural influences of pre-World War I Germany. He spent most of his youth in Berlin, where he developed a keen interest in philosophy, particularly the works of Immanuel Kant and Friedrich Nietzsche. This early exposure to philosophical thought would later shape his approach to understanding human behavior and social dynamics. As Lewin pursued his educational journey, he became increasingly drawn to the field of psychology. He enrolled at the University of Freiburg, where he studied under the guidance of Hugo Münsterberg, a renowned psychologist, who would later become a significant influence on Lewin's work. It was during this period that Lewin began to explore the concept of field theory, which posits that human behavior is shaped by the dynamic interplay between an individual and their environment. Lewin's time at the University of Berlin, where he earned his doctorate in 1914, proved pivotal in shaping his theoretical framework. Under the mentorship of Karl Stumpf, a prominent philosopher and psychologist, Lewin delved deeper into the realms of cognitive psychology and social philosophy. His dissertation, which focused on the relationship between Aristotelian and modern concepts of causality, demonstrated his unique ability to integrate philosophical ideas with empirical research. The years following World War I saw Lewin's career take a significant turn. He became involved in the German socialist movement, which sparked his interest in applying psychological principles to understand social change and group dynamics. This led him to develop his three-step model for social change, comprising unfreezing, changing, and refreezing, a framework that would become a cornerstone of his theoretical contributions. As Lewin's work gained recognition, he began to establish relationships with contemporaries who shared his passion for social psychology. His friendship with psychologist and philosopher Erich Fromm, for instance, led to insightful discussions on the intersection of psychology and sociology. These exchanges not only broadened Lewin's perspective, but also influenced the development of his field theory, which emphasized the importance of understanding human behavior within its social context. One of Lewin's most notable research endeavors was the Hawthorne studies, a series of experiments conducted in the 1920s and 1930s at the Hawthorne Works factory in Illinois. These studies, which explored the effects of environmental factors on worker productivity, yielded surprising results that challenged traditional assumptions about motivation and job satisfaction. Lewin's involvement in these studies marked a significant milestone in his career, as it demonstrated the practical applications of his theoretical work and cemented his reputation as a pioneer in social psychology. The Hawthorne studies also highlighted Lewin's commitment to understanding the complexities of human behavior in real-world settings. By examining the intricate web of social relationships within the factory, he shed light on the ways in which group dynamics and environmental factors influence individual behavior. This emphasis on contextualizing human behavior would become a hallmark of Lewin's approach, setting him apart from other psychologists of his time. As Lewin's career continued to flourish, he found himself at the forefront of a new wave of social psychologists who sought to understand the complexities of human behavior in the context of groups and societies. His work on field theory, which emphasized the dynamic interplay between individuals and their environment, began to gain traction among his peers. One notable example of this was his concept of life space, which referred to the totality of an individual's experiences, perceptions, and relationships at any given moment. This idea would later influence the development of ecological psychology and the study of human behavior in naturalistic settings. Lewin's involvement in the Hawthorne studies also sparked a fascination with the concept of groupthink, a phenomenon where individuals within a group prioritize consensus over critical evaluation, often leading to irrational or poor decision-making. He recognized that this tendency was not only prevalent in industrial settings, but also in social and political contexts, where the pressure to conform can be overwhelming. This insight would later inform his work on social change and the importance of fostering diverse perspectives within groups. In the 1930s, Lewin's life took a dramatic turn when he immigrated to the United States, fleeing the rising tide of Nazism in Germany. This transition not only affected his personal life, but also influenced his professional trajectory. He became a key figure at the Iowa Child Welfare Research Station, where he conducted seminal research on child development and socialization. His work during this period focused on the role of parental influence, peer relationships, and environmental factors in shaping children's behavior and attitudes. One of Lewin's most enduring contributions from this era was his development of the action research model, which emphasized the importance of collaborative problem-solving between researchers and practitioners. This approach, which involved cyclical processes of planning, action, and evaluation, allowed for the simultaneous pursuit of scientific knowledge and practical social change. The action research model would go on to influence a wide range of fields, from education and organizational development to community psychology and social work. Throughout his career, Lewin maintained a deep appreciation for the complexities and nuances of human behavior, recognizing that individual experiences are shaped by a multitude of factors, including culture, history, and social context. His relationships with contemporaries like Gordon Allport, who shared his interest in personality theory, and Jacob Moreno, a pioneer in psychodrama, reflect the rich intellectual landscape of mid-20th century psychology. These connections not only enriched Lewin's own work, but also contributed to the growth of social psychology as a distinct discipline. As Lewin's work at the Iowa Child Welfare Research Station continued to flourish, he became increasingly interested in the application of his field theory to real-world problems. One notable example of this was his research on the effects of authoritarian and democratic leadership styles on group behavior. In a series of experiments, Lewin and his colleagues created 3 different leadership environments: authoritarian, democratic, and laissez-faire. They then observed how children behaved in each setting, noting significant differences in aggression, cooperation, and overall morale. The findings from this research were striking. Children in the authoritarian group exhibited higher levels of aggression and competition, while those in the democratic group showed greater cooperation and empathy. The laissez-faire group, characterized by a lack of clear leadership or structure, resulted in confusion and disorganization among the children. These results not only shed light on the importance of leadership style in shaping group behavior, but also underscored the potential for field theory to inform practical interventions in social and educational settings. Lewin's work during this period also intersected with the emerging field of organizational development. His concept of requisite variety, which posits that a system must have at least as much flexibility and adaptability as the environment it operates within, resonated with managers and executives seeking to improve productivity and employee satisfaction. By applying Lewin's ideas about group dynamics and social change, organizations could create more effective and humane work environments, ultimately leading to better outcomes for both employees and the organization as a whole. In addition to his research and theoretical contributions, Lewin was also a gifted teacher and mentor. His lectures at the University of Iowa and later at MIT were renowned for their clarity and enthusiasm, inspiring a new generation of social psychologists and organizational theorists. One notable student of Lewin's was Ronald Lippitt, who would go on to make significant contributions to the field of group dynamics and community development. The close relationship between Lewin and Lippitt exemplifies the kind of mentorship and collaboration that characterized Lewin's approach to academic and professional life. As the 1940s progressed, Lewin's focus on social change and group dynamics led him to become increasingly involved in issues related to prejudice, discrimination, and intergroup relations. His work with the Commission on Community Interrelations, an organization dedicated to reducing tensions between different ethnic and religious groups, reflects his commitment to applying psychological principles to pressing social problems. Through his research and activism, Lewin aimed to create a more just and equitable society, one where individuals from diverse backgrounds could interact and cooperate in a spirit of mutual respect and understanding. In this context, Lewin's concept of the group norm, which refers to the unwritten rules and expectations that govern behavior within a group, took on particular significance. By recognizing how group norms can either promote or hinder social change, Lewin argued that it was possible to intentionally create environments that fostered greater tolerance, empathy, and cooperation among individuals from different backgrounds. This idea would later influence the development of community psychology and social justice initiatives, highlighting the potential for psychological theory to inform positive social change. As Lewin delved deeper into the complexities of group dynamics and social change, his work began to intersect with the emerging field of organizational development. One notable example of this was his collaboration with the Harwood Manufacturing Corporation, where he worked with executives to implement a democratic leadership style and foster greater employee participation in decision-making. The results were striking. Productivity increased, employee morale improved, and the company experienced a significant reduction in turnover rates. This success story not only underscored the practical applications of Lewin's theoretical work, but also demonstrated the potential for social psychology to inform positive change in organizational settings. Lewin's involvement with the Harwood Manufacturing Corporation also led him to explore the concept of participatory management, which emphasized the importance of involving employees in the decision-making process. He argued that this approach not only improved job satisfaction and productivity, but also fostered a sense of community and cooperation among workers. By creating an environment where employees felt valued and empowered, organizations could tap into the collective creativity and energy of their workforce, leading to innovation and growth. As Lewin's reputation as a pioneer in social psychology continued to grow, he attracted the attention of other prominent thinkers of his time. Lewin's relationships with contemporaries like Margaret Mead and Gregory Bateson also reflect the rich intellectual landscape of mid-20th century psychology. Through his interactions with these thinkers, Lewin was able to refine his ideas about group dynamics, social change, and human behavior, ultimately producing a body of work that would have a lasting impact on fields ranging from business to education. One notable example of this was his research on the self-hatred phenomenon among minority groups, where individuals internalized negative stereotypes and prejudices directed towards them. Lewin argued that this self-hatred was a result of the societal pressures and discriminatory practices that marginalized groups faced, and that it could only be overcome through a process of social change and empowerment. By recognizing the ways in which societal norms and expectations shape individual behavior, Lewin believed that it was possible to create environments that fostered greater tolerance, empathy, and cooperation among individuals from different backgrounds. As Lewin's work on prejudice and discrimination gained recognition, he began to receive criticism from some quarters for his perceived lack of attention to the role of institutional power structures in perpetuating social injustices. Some argued that his focus on individual attitudes and behaviors overlooked the deeper systemic issues that underpinned discriminatory practices. While Lewin acknowledged the importance of addressing these structural factors, he believed that his work on group dynamics and social change could provide a foundation for understanding how to create more inclusive and equitable environments. His groundbreaking theories and research have not only shaped the field of psychology, but also continue to influence fields such as business, education, and social justice. Lewin's unwavering commitment to applying psychological principles to real-world problems has inspired generations of researchers, practitioners, and leaders to strive for a more just and equitable society. As he once said, "If you want to understand the whole, you have to understand its parts, but if you only understand the parts, you will never understand the whole." These words encapsulate the essence of Lewin's work, reminding us that true understanding requires a deep appreciation for the complex interplay between individual and environment. That's all for today's Psych with Sigmund. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, may your ego find balance between pleasure and reality.